Sometimes you just want to go to a movie. You want to watch a bunch of animals that are way too big smash a bunch of shit.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you got.
That is what we got. It is every bit of what we got, and it's every bit of what we wanted, and it was glorious, in my opinion, just up front. It was glorious.
Yeah, dude, it was a great film. Like, you're not going into there for like any crazy mental mind games or anything like that. You're like, am I going to get cool monsters? Am I going to get The Rock doing some cool shit, saying some funny shit? Ding, ding, you did. And I mean, you genuinely actually have a funny silverback gorilla in the whole movie as well.
Almost funnier than The Rock. It had some great funny moments.
Yes, there was some great sign language going on in this movie. But no, it was good, especially if like if you're going in just to kind of see like a Rock'em Sock'em Robots type film, like that's exactly what you got, and they nailed it.
Nailed it, absolutely. It didn't take itself too seriously. It actually had more of a plot than I expected it to have, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it actually did. I was kind of like, almost like, what the hell is this logical shit doing in here?
Wait, we're talking CRISPR? We're talking like things that could actually do stuff like this? I mean, on a highly theoretical basis, but yeah, it was an interesting movie, and it's very good. So we want to welcome everybody who is tuned in to this is the Two Dads Review podcast. My name's Clay. My co-host on the other side of the internet is
I'm Corey.
Say hi to Corey, everybody. We want to thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you're finding us for the first time, we welcome you to this interesting hour to 2 hours this may end up being. We never know. We don't put a time limit on it. We just kind of keep talking until we stop. So hang on for the ride. If you're here, as always, every week, welcome back. And for anybody who doesn't know, you can find us over at twodadsreview.com. That's our audio boom site. You can check out all of our past podcasts there. You can also find links to other places to listen to us: Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Radio Public. You can also head over to the Two Dads Review YouTube page. All the podcasts go up there as well. If you like what you hear, feel free to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/twodadsreview. And that's all the good stuff, or all the boring stuff, really. Let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff's us talking.
Us talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who just kills it in everything. I love that he doesn't take himself too seriously, and it's nice. I don't mind it whatsoever.
No, like you can tell, like he's there to have fun, and it makes the movie more fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a movie I've seen in the recent years that he hasn't looked like he is having a blast on set, just doing what he does day in and day out.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a person that's enjoying life.
Did you follow him way back? Like, I watched him when he was a wrestler, but when he first came out, I remember watching his debut match in the WWE, WWF, whatever.
When he was like the flying Hawaiian dude.
He was just Rocky Maivia, and he had the nice tassels on, and he was coming out. I think
there it is.
I think it was for a was it a Royal Rumble? I believe so, because there's a whole bunch of guys in the. I mean, it was great. I mean, it's just fantastic. And I'm like picturing it in my head right now. Oh, all the hair and the tassels and the fanny pack and the jewelry. Oh yeah, it's great. So it's a great. So Rampage 2018, directed by Brad Payton, who is pretty much just Dwayne Johnson's go-to director, because he directed San Andreas. He also directed Journey to the Mysterious Island, which Dwayne Johnson was in as well, and he's directing the upcoming San Andreas 2.
Peck Pop of Love, that's what it is. I said from the Journey 2, man, there's a scene in it where he's like teaching the kid to like do things, and like he like bounces his pecs, and he calls it the Peck Pop of Love, and it's like a tongue twister too.
I have never seen Journey 2, and I feel bad that I haven't seen it now.
Yeah, for that scene alone, it's worth it.
Just for that scene alone. Oh, man, that's great. So we said it stars Dwayne Johnson. It also stars Naomi Harris, who is... Okay, so Dwayne Johnson is Davis Okoye. That's his name in the movie. Naomi Harris plays Dr. Kate Caldwell, who you know her. She's the Moneypenny in the Bond films. She's Moneypenny, and she was also in 28 Days Later, but I don't think she was the lead girl. She may have been. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell. Her name was kind of far down the list, but it's one of those times that they like list it by like order of appearance. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always have the fantastic. We also have the fantastic Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Harvey Russell. You know, standard black suit, unknown government agency worker.
Yeah, I work for the other guy who works for the other guy who works for the other guy who doesn't exist type guy.
Right, exactly. Everybody knows him from The Watchmen. He played the comedian in Watchmen. He's also, of course, Negan in Walking Dead. And he was also on Texas Rising, which was a little miniseries, which he had to get like super, super stupid skinny for the character he was playing. And like he hasn't really like, because he was kind of hefty in The Watchmen. Like he was kind of thick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I remember him from Supernatural because he's the dad in Supernatural. And then I remember him from way back when he was on Grey's Anatomy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's always been kind of like a bigger, thicker dude.
Has he always done the lean back and talk and all like forever, or did he just started doing it for Walking Dead? Because I do not remember.
Well, I don't know. In Grey's Anatomy, he was pretty much in a stretcher the whole time. So like, and then in Supernatural, he only like has like spot appearances where he's talking to the kids because his ass died.
Right. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So for a while there, I thought he was going to be like Sean Bean, man, just like dies in everything. You know, I was like, he's going to be that good actor, the guy that just dies. True. He always dies. Very true. Yeah, the Walking Dead season finale just happened last Sunday, and I'm not going to spoiler that, but yeah, it's he's great on that one. He's insane. He plays a great like crazy dude, and it doesn't hurt him in this movie either, because he's kind of like he plays a great dick. Yeah. But like you're like, but I like you. Like you're an okay dick. I don't mind that whatsoever. I don't mind you that much. I mean, I wouldn't want to be around you all the time, but I could use you.
And to round it out, Malin Akerman, also from Watchmen, she played. I knew I was going to forget it because I didn't write it down. What was her character in Watchmen? Do you remember?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, she wore the blue. She wore the black and yellow outfit.
Yep, I will not be able to remember this.
Not at all.
No.
She also is in the show Billions, which she's pretty good at. She plays. I might have to look this stuff up because I did not look it up.
I don't even know why you keep referencing shit you don't know.
Let everybody know where they're at. Let everybody know where she's at. I swear to God, it's killing me. She played Silk Spectre in Watchmen. And she plays the wife of the main character in Billions. So she plays Axelrod's wife, and she's pretty cutthroat. She's pretty awesome. The guy that played the main character, the main star of Billions is Damian Lewis, the redheaded dude from Homeland. You know when you saw him. Yeah, he's awesome. He's great. It's a great show. Just another.
I can't stand his face.
You just don't like his mouth.
Yeah, dude, I can't do it, man. I can't see past it. Like, if I met him in real life, he would probably be like the nicest person, and I would never be able to stop. I would not be able to break focus from his mouth. I'd be like, I can't do it, dude. You just got to stop fucking talking, man.
Right. He does. He has a way of holding his face in his mouth when he talks, and it does quite draw you out of what he's doing. You're like, what's happening there?
It just makes him unbelievable to me. I'm like, you're like broken, dude. What the fuck's wrong with you, man?
Right. So Malin Akerman plays Claire Wyden, which is the big bad guy, and her brother Brett Wyden is played by Jake Lacey, who I didn't write anything down he'd been in because there wasn't anything important. Some episodes of The Office, something else I don't even remember.
I would kind of remember him as like the guy in the background. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, he definitely was like playing the rich, snobby guy on this one, kid, never had to grow up type character. In this one, it's, standard billionaire family type thing. Yeah. And to round it out, really, George the Ape was played by a guy named Jason Lyles, who has done other like motion capture type things. He was the Netflix did Death List. Is that what it's called? It's based off an anime. Death Note. Death Note. That's right. He played like the weird, creepy monster, and I have not seen Death Note, nor do I know the anime, but I know he was in it. And I was like, oh, are you like another Andy Serkis like / Doug Jones, where you just play like characters? You never play like yourself. So he's done a few things where he's been things and other stuff, you know, like motion capture type stuff.
That's cool.
So hey,
I'd like that job would be sweet.
Just get in there, just dress up and just play.
Yeah, dude, I need you to pretend to be a gorilla. Okay, cool.
Actually, with my knees, it would not be fun at all. Like,
well, no, neither. No, I'm like, I look okay, but I'm really just totally rotten and dead on the inside,
just broken. Everything.
Like I don't wear my fatigue and pain on the outside. Like mine's slowly crippling me on the inside.
Right. No one wants to see that if it was on the outside. Do not go in public.
Like I would not be allowed out of the house. I mean, I'm not even allowed out now.
True. Very true. So guess what? So after the past few weeks of doing this, guess what the budget was?
Well, I can see it now.
Oh, that's right.
You're watching it. $120 million.
That's right. I sent you I didn't realize you had it pulled up. Yeah. So like our standard Hollywood, here's $120 million. That's enough for CG. That's enough for your actors. Go do what you can do. I know,
dude.
It.
That's like fucking like players minimum in the NFL, dude. like that's where like the anybody who wants to do kind of like anybody with like either a grandiose story or like one big name guy, they're like, you immediately start at 120. They're like, okay, you got an A-list guy, like you got The Rock, like even though it's a goofy movie, you got The Rock, like he's gonna bring in a crowd,
right?
And there's like, here's your 120. just let us know, like we'll add another 0 or fucking change that 2 to a 7 or some shit like that if we need to.
Right? See what you can do with it. Go have fun. We'll see you in a year. Yeah, it's just Hollywood's like, here's $120 million. They just have $120 million stamps. They're just stamping stuff. Just here you go. Have a good time.
Yeah, I know, dude. Like in the back of my head, I'm just going, God, I wish I knew how to like write a script.
Right. Hey, so far it's making money though. So it's at 151.5 million as of whenever I looked up these notes a couple days ago. So this is
it also had like #1 over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
It
uprooted A Quiet Place probably. Because A Quiet Place knocked everybody out. It was #1.
A Quiet Place broke 100 million.
Oh, did they? I was looking.
Yeah.
I was more interested in seeing how far the drop off was for Ready Player One, and I couldn't find like a definitive number. But I know they just.
Did you notice how like you don't even hear anything about Player One anymore?
Only thing I've heard in the past week is that they passed 400 million, but they were at 200 something million. Like when we did the podcast the week after it debuted. So they've barely doubled the money since then, or haven't even doubled it since then. So
yeah, like I haven't even seen commercials for it. I don't like hear anybody talk about it anymore. It was like, yeah, all right. Some people seem to be enjoying this, but we kind of know we fucking missed.
Yeah, there was a couple. I listened to a few podcasts during the week, and there was one that I followed that I'm not even going to say who it is because I don't want them to be mad at me, but they were slobbing that movie's knob hard. And I was like, I don't even know what's wrong with you guys. I was like, it was not like, I realized that one of you was like in film. And I was like, but what are you doing? Like, it's not. On one end, you're talking about how great it was, and literally like 10 minutes later, you're talking about like all the parts that weren't that great, but we can kind of look through it. No, you can't. It was just a stupid story. It was basic. It was a basic movie with a whole bunch of CGI. But this isn't a Ready Player One podcast. You want to hear us rant about that movie? Just go back and listen to that podcast. 'Cause I'm not talking about it. It doesn't deserve my time on here.
I was like, hold on, man. We can't go down that rabbit hole.
Sorry, it just got me. I'm glad that it got uprooted but I did watch a whole bunch of interviews with John Krasinski, like after we did the original A Quiet Place podcast, and like I kind of love him. Like I kind of have fallen in love with that guy.
I know he's your new man crush.
He really is. He's freaking awesome, and just a good guy. Just a good guy. You could just tell he's you can tell he's not putting on a show. He's just a nice guy.
Yeah,
and he's as surprised as we are that he wrote a great horror movie. like a great thriller, suspense horror thriller, whatever you want to call it. Like he's
I mean, it kind of checks a little bit of all the boxes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, go back to listen to that podcast. You want to hear us gush about John Krasinski. So we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about The Rock. We're sorry, Mr. Johnson. We know you're a listener. We'll talk about your movie now.
Yeah, we'll get back to your movie as you're shoveling in pancakes during your cheat day your 5 pizzas, and then you go back about your freak ass diet.
That's okay, because we're going to watch another one of his movies later this summer called Skyscraper. We saw a preview for it during this movie, and it looks awesome. Okay,
am I the only guy that doesn't think it's cool that he only has one leg in this?
Well, it already. I mean, can you really handicap The Rock?
No, I mean, like, you can't. You could probably, like, chop that guy up into pieces and he'd still keep fucking moving.
Right.
But there's already the scene, because it's the poster, and it's, like, in the trailer, where he jumps from, like, the crane.
To the, yeah.
Like, you just... Like, I've already seen the, like, trajectory images of it, of, like, where he would hit actually in the building and stuff, and... I'm just like, okay, dude, if we're gonna do a guy, and he's a war vet, and he's got a disability, like... Cool, but let's keep it in the realm
of reality.
Of reality, like no dude, unless he's got like the sprinter leg attachments, is gonna go fucking trying that jump with a
standard walking prosthetic
leg. Yeah, because it wasn't like he had some kind of sports leg on or something like that. Man, this was just his like everyday get around leg.
Right. Well, and in the preview, I noticed that he was at least running with that. He wasn't running full force with that jump, which then why are you trying this jump, bro? You know?
Yeah, well, he was also running like he only had one leg.
Right, and so you're definitely not making this jump.
Yeah, and that was the only thing that bothered me about that like I was like, dude, look, this is going to be a Die Hard-esque movie, which has already got me like that's cool. Like you can't fuck those movies up.
It's already on our list, man. We're going to go see it.
Yeah, I know we're gonna go see it, but it's just it already in my thorn in my side with that scene.
It's already taking you out of the movie already, because you're like, I'm waiting for you to do this jump. Well, maybe he will fail horribly, and that's when his leg gets caught in the rope that we also saw in the trailer, which actually made me. We're in the theater watching the previews for Rampage, and that part comes where like the rope wraps around his leg, and you're like, oh shit, it's his fake leg, and like I out loud was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, good thing there's only 3 of us in the theater.
Right. I was like, oh, damn it. That's the wrong leg, because those things aren't like screwed into your leg. I was like, oh shit, dude, you're about to be messed up.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's still going to be a good movie, I feel like. I just wish they wouldn't, like, Hollywood always wouldn't go like, hey, what's that one unbelievable thing we can fucking throw in here?
Right. And then make it the poster.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right, back to Rampage yet again. At least we were still on The Rock. We just weren't on the Rampage yet. So let's go through the ratings real quick. Rotten Tomato critics rating has it at a 51% with an 81% audience rating. I don't disagree with that, because the critics, like especially with the critics, if they're looking for like the next Oscar winner, yeah, this isn't that movie. You know what I mean?
Nah, this was just a good, fun movie, and like you either are a person that enjoys having fun or you're dead inside. And everyone that's on that 50% side is like, just, they don't have a sense of humor.
So the Metacritic rating has it at a 45. The IMDb has it at a 6.5, but the CinemaScore has it at an A-, because you went to see Monster Smashing Buildings, therefore they gave you Monster Smashing Buildings, and I give it an A.
Yeah, and they didn't fuck around either, man.
Yeah,
like there's some scenes in the movie where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened, and not in like the comical way, in the like, oh my god, that thing just got split wide open kind of way. Like, did I? Wait a minute.
Right. This is still
PG. Is that allowed in this movie? Like,
true. It's all about the blood splatter. Like where people are getting ripped up and stuff, you're not seeing blood splatter. You're just seeing chunks of body parts.
That's true.
That's literally all it is in Hollywood between a 13 and an R. Is if there's like the actual blood gushing and heart pumping spurts of blood everywhere. If you just rip something's head off, as long as there's no blood dripping, they don't care.
Huh. Interesting.
It's stupid. Fuck Hollywood. I know it. It's just the way it is. So yeah, all right. So before we go into this plot, we've kind of talked a little bit. So if you let's just give it a quick non-spoiler rating type thing here. So you're saying go see it, right?
Yeah, definitely go see it. If you want to go see a fun movie, go see Rampage.
It is fun. It is not. It will not let you down. There is more plot than I expected.
Yeah, there's way more plot than I expected, but like the plot only moves like it. Oh, Jesus Christ! Literally, the plot moves the story.
Oh man,
the action and the way they go about it. Like, the actual story is just kind of there. Like, it's not like this plot is, like, what drives the film.
Correct. And I had the same fear before watching the movie is, like, how are you going to believably put these humans anywhere near what's going on with these giant monsters without it being unrealistic? You know, how are they going to be involved in the plot whatsoever? And if they are, is it going to be this side story that really bogs down the movie trying to tell an actual story along with, like, monsters and alien monsters, you know, tearing shit up.
Yeah, and the monsters come out like at like the perfect time in the movie because like right when like George starts to go all crazy is when I was like in my head going, all right, man, like Rampagey needs to start getting a little rampagey, you know, like, and they kicked it up. Like they're like, okay, cool, like we know you've waited and you've seen the stuff, and we gave you a little bit of background. Boom, here's your monsters.
Yeah,
Go have fun.
Here's all your monsters doing all their monster things.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Well, good. So that's enough non-plot because we do need to get into it. For anybody who doesn't understand, we're about to spoiler the whole movie. We're going to walk you through as much as I could write down because when we go to movies and there's only 3 folks in the theater, I can sit in the way back and take notes during the movie and not be the asshole with my phone on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, dude, I think that guy that walked in there, like, after us, and by the way, that dude was there like 15 minutes after us, like was so disappointed there was 2 more people in there. Like I thought he was gonna have that whole thing to himself because he just looked at us and then I just felt a little piece of him die. like I could see it in his eyes, like, I don't even get to sit in the back row.
Hey, we should invite him up and be like, come on, man, we're all back here doing stupid shit. Come on, it's gonna be great. But yeah, so we open the movie on a space station of all things, and you can tell as they get closer that something is really, really wrong in that space station. Like things are on fire.
Like, it's gone fucking from bad to worse real fast.
Right, and you're hearing there's one person floating around. You're hearing about the specimen being has gotten out. There are body parts floating through the cabin, like feet and arms and shit just floating through.
Yep, amongst the debris.
Right, and the astronaut who's up there is trying to get out, and she's telling Houston, she's like, I'm going to the escape hatch, and as she gets to the door, they lock the door remotely on her so she can't get the escape hatch. And she's like, what are you doing? And you hear someone get on the comm and say, go get the samples, and we'll open the door for you.
Yeah, like, I was like, that's the one fucking thing outside of we can't open the door, like the door's broken, sorry, you know, like, that you wouldn't want to hear from your boss.
Yeah, and then you're...
Right, like, hey... I mean, I guess, though, if you would kind of have to know, right? Like, you would kind of have to know that your boss is that kind of asshole.
Yeah, well, then I wouldn't go to space with that boss control and the lock
right?
button.
That you would think that you wouldn't go into space. But if you did, you knew that you probably should have just tried to grab the samples from the get-go. Right. And you would have probably gotten that door a lot quicker.
Yeah, very true. You'd at least floated by that room and been like, I'll be running there and grab those so I can get out of here. Because they care about those more than they care about us. Yeah, you know if you're working for a shady corporation, you know you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hey, dude, we're doing shady science in space because we can't do it on the planet
Right.
Earth.
Yeah, this is happening down here because it's illegal where there's laws.
Yeah.
So sadly, she goes back to get her sample so she can leave. You see the rat. It's a rat has escaped, and it is like it's literally.
Well, because they make a joke of it earlier, the guy from Houston, basically, because she's like, the specimen's escaped, and they're like, it's a rat, and she's like, not anymore.
Right.
You know, so you're kind of like, what the hell's going on with this rat? And then that's when you see it, when she's going back for or gets the specimens, and she's coming out of the door. That's when you see it fucking working its way up from the hallway. And that rat is a rat on steroids
It's an ROUS.
mixed with
It's an ROUS.
something else. Like
From Princess Bride, man. It's a rodent of unusual size, baby.
Yeah.
And it will mess you up. And it chases her. And they had some... I mean, this is the first chance we get to see the CGI in the movie in general. And it was convincing CGI for space. All that good stuff. All the floating through, shooting through, trying to get to the escape hatch. That's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it was... there was no like glitches in the system.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that was glaringly wrong with the CGI. So she gets in the pod, gets the door locked, but the rat starts scratching at the window, like of the escape hatch as she's getting ready to jettison it, because of course it takes 18 switch flips to get it to actually eject.
Yeah, instead of just one big button.
Right, just a red button where you just hit it and go, which would be really nice. Mm-hmm. So she ejects safely from the space station as it is like exploding, and it starts to enter the atmosphere. But where the rat has messed up the glass, it doesn't withstand reentry, and it explodes and all the pieces all the debris from her ship starts falling into the atmosphere, and
yeah, all in different areas.
Do they land? I don't think that they land till after we meet Davis and the team. I think they kind of do like a cutback because George watches it. Do they all go at that exact moment? Anyways, that happened sometime at the beginning too. You're right.
Yeah, because when they break from space, you see the entry points from each one. You see George's get hit at night. You see the wolf go sniff it from where it landed, and then you see the one fall in the swamp and that gator come up and snatch it.
Right. I thought we met Davis and the team and had the interaction with George, and then they showed us it touching down over George's head later on that night, which is when it did happen, was after we first saw him. But anyways.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I guess they may have floated around.
You get the whole trailer scene. What we didn't talk about was the whole trailer scene where George, which is actually different from the trailer.
Right.
Because you think George is like pretending to scare the newbie, where actually George was quote unquote protecting the newbie from an other new gorilla who has just entered into the troop.
Right. Yeah, so we meet Davis. And they actually spend some time on some of the other people in his team, but they literally mean nothing in like 15 minutes in the movie.
Literally 15 minutes, man.
Right. You get scared guy. He's like talking to the cute girl in the group, and he's trying to be all manly, and then Davis puts him in his place. You get the funny comic relief guy, who I would like to have seen more in the movie, because he's actually anything he's been in, he's that character all the time. Whatever he plays in.
Yeah, the kind of sweaty nerd, goofy, charmy guy at the same time.
Yep. The way too confident nerdy guy. Who feels like who feels like he could just talk to The Rock like, you need to have a woman, man, because you're really weird.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man, because that whole scene was just like picture perfect at the same time. You know, you're going, there's no way The Rock would ever have a problem with the girl, but yet in this world where there's giant monsters, this man is somehow not good with the ladies.
Doesn't even want the ladies. He's just like, nah, I'm good.
Apparently he's like, nah, I'm not. I'm just not interested.
I mean, his
so apparently so uninterested that makes him weird.
Right, to the nerd. You're weird to the nerd, which is great.
Yeah, to the goofy guy who probably doesn't have any chance with any girls. It's like, dude, it's bad.
Well, that's one of his jokes. He's like, I should shave my head. He's like,
he's like, he's gonna like go bald, and it's gonna make it
right. That's your problem.
The sad part for him, it would make it 100 times worse.
Exactly, like really bad.
Yeah.
So we meet Davis. We get an idea for him that he's kind of a loner. He works at a wildlife reserve of some sort. I mean, considering the scene we meet him in, like them just hiking up to the gorilla enclosure, who would ever do that?
Yeah, dude, I feel like they have, like, if this is some kind of sanctuary or zoo, there's like entrances, but I mean, that enclosure had to be massive for as far as they walked through the jungle to get to where they were going.
Exactly, and no one had a trank gun, no one had anything, and you literally have a new gorilla a young male gorilla that's trying to establish itself in the truth, and Davis is trying to show him that he's alpha. One of the guy who was trying to be all big and bad with the girl reacts wrong, and he gets like the new gorilla like rushes him and is about to beat him to a bloody pulp when George knocks the gorilla out of the way.
Yeah.
And then you get the one from the trailer where he's like laughing at him and he's like, no, he no laugh, he cry, like all that stuff. Yeah. So the trailer, and this is when I had the first feeling in this movie. I was like, oh, this movie's not going to be like a giant joke the entire time, because it's going to be more serious. And that was serious because that guy's about to get killed. Like, if George hadn't done
dude, this was about to be on like When Animals Attack.
Yeah,
like that's where it was at. Like that guy was about to be mauled to death on camera, and George comes in and hip checks him out of the way.
Yeah,
and then that's your introduction to George. But the way they painted in the trailer is like George pretended to be the angry gorilla and like
scare the guy,
just scared him, and then was like ha 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 ha. Like, no, George saved this guy's life and then started laughing at him.
Right. Like, at some point we have to talk that Davis would have been fired and or arrested for some sort of negligent homicide for putting this stupid college student or intern or whatever in this kind of harm without any sort of protection or safety protocol or anything.
Yeah, well, again, man, giant monsters, rules don't apply.
True. Okay. Truth be told. All right.
Because shortly after, we have the whole scene where he's like, basically tells all the police officers to stand down because he's a fucking zoologist or whatever.
Right. Don't worry. I don't even know what term he used, but I'm like, that was not make them stop. But we'll get to that part. We'll get to that part here in a second. So we meet
yeah,
Davis.
There's just certain shit you got to go with, I guess.
Right. We meet Davis. We meet his crew. A girl throws herself at him. He rejects it completely. I mean, she had the bluest eyes I have ever seen. Did you notice that? Like, they had to have like enhanced those things in post. I was like, why are your eyes so blue?
This is gonna sound really sexist, and I don't mean it that way, but like, I didn't even notice her eyes.
Oh, well.
Like she was so not part of the movie for me at all. Like, because every time she was on the screen, The Rock was
true, and
I was pretty much just laser focused on his character because I was like, no one else matters.
Right. Like, I'll get to know you later, but then we realized there was no later. You just never saw you again. Yeah. So
yeah, I really thought they were gonna be with him the whole movie, and then I just come to realize that they're just not there.
Yeah, they're just not there. You see them for a hot second in a few minutes, and then that's the last you see of any of them ever again for the entire movie, and it's great. I love it. They didn't bog it down with too many more people. We don't need any more people. I need monsters. That's all I needed.
Yeah, no, you get an introduction to one other person, the doctor.
Right.
Then that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is all set up just so we know that he's like not all over ladies and not really caring about that kind of stuff, which makes them getting together at the end more important, I guess, to the plot. I don't know.
Well, I think it also makes George's joke even funnier.
Oh, it does completely, which is just great. I would love to have known, like, when they were doing, well, we'll get there, but when we see the CG guys like reading the script, like, oh, I got to make a monkey do that. That's great. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. So that evening, Davis heads home. They all go the separate directions, and we see this. Is when we see the touchdown scene of all the canisters at night. That night,
yeah,
so
that's right. Yeah,
you see a canister touchdown around a pack of wolves. You see a canister land in the Everglades of Florida, and you see a canister land. You watch George watch the canister land and crash near him, and you see the wolf. You see the wolf from the wolf pack go and inspect it. You see George go and inspect it, and you see it open up in the water where an alligator's near it. That's pretty much what happens. So you're like, well, There's my 3 monsters. I know how they're made. Good to go. Let's move this forward. Let's go.
Yeah, they're like space scanners just crashed down with some unknown chemical. Obviously, it makes things bigger and angry.
Nothing can go wrong.
No, nothing at all.
So the next morning, Davis gets to the animal sanctuary or whatever it is. We're going to call it that for the rest of the movie because we don't need it for much longer. It's not much of the plot after about another 10 minutes. But he gets there and his nerdy friend comes out and he's like, hey, I'm glad you got my call. Like, you got to come see George. He's like, he's in the bear enclosure. Like, he's in the grizzly enclosure. And Davis is like, he's what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you come to find out that the grizzly bear is dead. So you're kind of like, all right, well, there was some kind of fight that happened. And then you see George basically in the cave.
Like cowering, like just kind of cowering, licking his wounds type thing.
Yeah, like, and so you're like, oh man, what happened to him? Like, is he gone all berserk, or is he like actually like mortally wounded? Like, what's going on? You know? And then you just like he comes out and he's like significantly larger.
Yeah,
like like from the last time you saw him, like and you knew I was like, and you knew he was gonna get bigger, but I was like, God damn, he's huge. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, he got
and
big.
He's not
quick.
done. And he's not done. Like, he just looked big there, and he wasn't even done growing.
Yeah, it was just enough for them to step back and be like, "Oh shit!" I mean, you saw it in the trailer. The worst part, this is one of those movies. The trailer blew a lot of the stuff out of the water. Like, you knew it was happening a large chunk of the movie already.
Yeah, man. Again, that's why I avoid trailers.
Yeah, I have to pick movies somehow for us, man. I'm stuck watching them all. So we know George is larger. We know something is not good with George. So from there, we meet the rich people who were on the other end of the headset with the astronaut. We meet the Wyden Corporation, Claire and Brett, and they're standard.
God, what two just fucking pretentious names,
right? Standard rich people, snobby people. Nobody matters but our money and our thing. Their company owns Energene, which is the company that created the chemical that's making these changes happen. They know of the monsters being created. They know about George. They know about the wolf that's been seen. And I guess they know about the alligator. Maybe not yet. They did.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe.
I think
they know where one landed.
Yeah, they do know it landed in the Everglades. You're right. I'm not sure they knew there was an alligator yet. So they're going after the wolf since it's out in the wild and no one can really get a hold of it. They just want to get a sample of its blood or whatever to bring it back, and they want to recover their intellectual property so they can use it to weaponize it or whatever they're going to do with this, horribly bad chemical. So at this point, I didn't mention this before because it doesn't really matter, but Joe Manganiello is in this movie for not very long.
Yeah, the werewolf from True Blood is hunting a wolf.
Yeah, which is right on the money. And so he's part of this paramilitary, guns for hire type security group. They're hired to go take down the wolf. They chop her in. They shoot it. And they go to investigate to make sure it's down. It was not down. It got big real quick. It
was just pissed off.
It was just mad. Yeah, I mean, you even saw a glimpse of it like glide a little bit with its like flying squirrel wings. Like you saw it glide just a little bit during the when it was running and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they all and nobody, like the guy even that took a shot at it, who's taking a shot at it with a standard like AR rifle with like a 5.56, like it's not like I don't know what you think that round does, but it's not going to take down an animal that's 2 stories tall. I'm sorry. And even the one guy,
right?
joked,
like you guys had to see that thing running through the woods, going, well, that's average than your that's much larger than your average wolf. Like I shouldn't see the shadows that I'm seeing and the way it's darting in and out of those trees. It shouldn't be that big,
right? Right. Your chopper shouldn't be flying at full speed, barely keeping up with it, so you get a shot at it.
Yeah, like, and I feel like they just didn't take any of that into consideration. They were just like, okay, bigger wolf.
We can kill.
Go shoot it.
We can kill it. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And so so after seeing this, thinking they shot it, and then going to investigate it, they go on foot to investigate it. They don't just like hover over the giant body of the wolf that you just shot. No, you put the chopper down and then go through the woods to find it. And you found it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the whole thing was the chopper couldn't get to the location,
right?
Because of the trees. That's what I would have went with that,
right?
But I really thought Joe's character was going to be in here longer, and you were going to have like a him versus Rock showdown because he was like on the monster side, or or like something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the Rock had to get through him, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, like that's going to be cool later. Two big fucking dudes going at it.
Right, exactly. So before they go investigate it, we have to jump back real quick. We're back to Davis at the annual sanctuary, and they've done some blood work. They don't recognize anything that's going on with him. He's definitely hungry because he's growing. He's like was 6 foot one day. Now he's like 9 foot when he went in
feet,
when he went in the cage, and now he's like almost 10 by the time he decides to break out, because he escapes. He didn't escape. Escape would mean you were like clandestine. He just rips off the seat in the cell and bashes it against it till the walls give.
Yeah, he just brute forced it until the structure could not bear it anymore.
And Davis goes running after him. This is when the cops show up. He gets them to stand down. He's trying to talk to George, and then a chopper comes up and tranks him to sleep.
Yeah, so many tranks. Like, I feel like there was so many tranks that like he should have died.
Yeah, there's just so many. So
yeah, like because the guy was like, and then like it goes slow mo, and you hear like, and you just keep hearing it slowly fire off in the background. It's like, you know, and I was like, I mean, goddamn, dude, at a certain point that has to be lethal, right?
Yeah, at some point. Luckily, he's a giant ape. He'll be fine.
Yeah, that's just growing so fast, apparently, that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, and the worst part...
because he wakes up later.
Well, and the worst part is the whole breakout was just caused because he was hungry, and they couldn't feed him fast enough that his metabolism wasn't burning it, so he was just starving.
Yeah, like they should have just been tossing Snicker bars in there, right?
Yeah, it's like, how is that like not... Okay, take blood, fine, but then go find buckets of food. You know, how is that not just sitting around in there for you to give to the poor giant growing ape?
Yeah, because you would think like there's many doctors there at this area that they're in for blood work and stuff like that, and like it takes the other outside doctor to come in and go, yeah, that makes sense, he's growing at such an extraordinary rate. Right,
it takes whatever title he called himself to the cops. I'm a zoologist. It wasn't even zoologist. It was like something majorly.
I don't know what it was, but I mean, it's got to be what it's like. It didn't fit him. Let's put it that way.
So now we're back to the Guns for Hire guys investigating where they thought they shot Rampage 1. They called him Rampage 1. But it's Ralph. It's the guy's name is Ralph. Especially from the video game, his name is Ralph. It's the wolf. He's not there. They find a big giant footprint, which it was weird that the wolf was growing at a much faster rate than the gorilla was, because that wolf was already massive.
Yeah, I guess it just had to be because it sniffed it sooner.
Maybe. Yeah, true. I mean, truthfully, I don't really care. It was a big ass wolf, and it proceeds to destroy the entire team.
Yeah, like fucks them up.
And they even ripping guys. And this is when they started ripping guys in half, and you leaned over, you were like, can they be doing this in a PG-13 movie? I was like, I don't know.
Dude, I was like, I don't think this is legal. Like, because my boy Uriah Faber from the USC, man, he got fucking wrecked.
Oh, was he? Oh,
he was like he was like one of the first dudes that got like snatched by the waist, and you were like, oh shit.
Right, we're not holding it back here. We're just tearing people in half. Yeah. But no blood, just body parts. That's I guess that's okay. Welcome to America.
Yeah, man.
And Joe, good old...
Don't show blood, don't show nipple.
Right, no blood, no nipple, you're fine. PG-13, make your $150 million, have a nice day. Yeah. They even tease this because Joe, like, makes it out, like, because he's the lead of the group, Joe Manganiello's character. He makes it, like, away from it, but then he doesn't. He gets eaten at the very end.
Yeah, he put up a good fight.
He did. He tried.
But I did like how that wolf just snuck up on him.
Did it have...
Snapped down on him and just took him away.
Didn't it have, like, shark teeth, too? Like, it had, like, rows of teeth behind it? Or was that the gator? Maybe that was the gator.
The gator had the rows of teeth.
That's two gators.
The wolf was literally just a giant wolf that got, like, flying squirrel wings.
Hell yeah. He's like, how'd I get flying squirrel? And it didn't even help him out at the end.
What the worst part is the wolf just immediately knew how to use them.
True.
It was like, nah, man, I got this flying shit down. Like, I've been waiting to do this my whole life.
No problem. I'm just going to be flying. Yeah, true. And that didn't even help him out at the end, poor wolf. But we'll get there. We'll get there in a minute. And then at the end, the wolf takes out the chopper in, like, badass fashion.
Yeah, dude, it jump up. Because you can, like, where it landed, it's, like, torso, shoulder up area was like right where the chopper blades were, and those chopper blades just hit it, just quit moving.
It just snapped right off.
They just broke.
And you're like, oh, that thing means business.
Sturdy, yeah. It's a sturdy wolf.
It's a sturdy wolf. I guess sometime before, yeah, we're doing real good this time, Corey. when they were doing the blood work on George and he was all caged up, we also got to meet Katie. In fact, I skipped over meeting Katie altogether. The girl who she was late to whatever job she was going to, and then she goes.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, we didn't even mention it, but we've already been introduced to her by now. Before George even leaves. In fact, Davis saves her when George like smashes the wall down. But it's her stuff. Like what she did. This is like based off of her original design. But she doesn't work for Energene anymore. They stole her intellectual property. She spent some time in jail because they pinned some charges on her because they were just trying to get her out of the picture. But she is tracked the canister down. She knows about it. Her and Davis are now attached to the hip. In fact, they're arrested. I guess they were arrested when George escaped as well. And we also get to meet, this is when we meet Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, Russell. And we meet him for the first time.
Yep.
And this is I have dick measuring contest written in my notes because that's what him and The Rock did, like right up front. They were just like, my dick's bigger. No, my dick's bigger. Fuck you, fuck you.
It's like, why don't you take off these cuffs? And I like even Katie was like, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't take off your handcuffs.
Yeah. She's like, I can't believe he didn't do that for you when you asked him.
Yeah.
Right.
That didn't work. No shit.
Right. So this unknown government agency that Russell works for has packed up George, has arrested, or at least they have the zip tie handcuffs on Davis and Katie, and they're flying them somewhere. Like, we don't know where, they're just going somewhere. He actually says he works for OGA, other government agency.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that.
And this is when George escapes. That's the last time you see any of the Rock's or any of Davis's crew that we met at the beginning. In fact, you see the like guy who cowered earlier cower again in front of the girl, like when George busts through the wall. Like, you see him for a hot second, and that's the last you see of anybody. So now all we care about is Davis, Katie, Russell, and the monsters. That's all who's left in the movie.
Yeah,
it's okay because truthfully, with these kind of monster movies, I don't need a whole lot of plot because it's gonna mess it up anyways. Because I just want to see monsters wreck shit up. So while Katie and Davis are on the plane, this is where you get the backstory about how she doesn't work for Energene anymore because she had been kind of going off that to get Davis to work with her because she said she knew all about what was causing the problems to George and everything.
Yeah, this is where you find out her deep, dark secret.
Right.
Which is really she's a good person fired by terrible people.
Right. She spent time in jail because people suck, and it's not even her fault. She was trying to cure her brother who had a disease that was a deteriorating sort of disease. I'm not sure if they even listed what it was, but this CRISPR technology would have worked, this gene splicing type thing, DNA editing would have worked or helped him out. It's really just put there because The Rock Davis doesn't trust people at all, and she's just quote unquote proving his point. Look, I can't even trust you. You're just a nice person, but you seem nice on the outside, but you're really a liar as well.
No, really, what you are is an even nicer person because you tried to destroy when you found out that they were doing terrible shit with your good stuff.
Right. So in lieu of that, you've got George unconscious on a plane with a drip. Tranquilizer drip in him. The government. I like the little back and forth between Russell and Katie because she's like, "Have you accounted for this?" And Russell's right back and forth like, "Yes, we accounted for it. Yes, we did this. Yes, we've kept up with this. We're dosing him according to his size increase and his metabolism." He's like, "We are the government. We may do shit slow, but we get it."
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I think we kind of got it covered. We don't always do it right, but we know what we're doing over here.
So we know George is out for right now. They switch us over to the rich brother and sister, and we see they know that their paramilitary team has failed. They didn't get the sample from the wolf. So they're like, well, so Claire is like, okay, well, good. Here's our giant tower on top of our building can emit a signal that these animals have been pre-programmed to respond to and to come towards. We're just going to turn it on in the middle of Chicago, and we'll bring all the animals to us.
Well, you had to get them breaking, tearing down some cities and climbing some buildings somehow.
Right. So they turn on the signal, and you see the wolf react. You see something in the water. I'm not sure if we've even seen the crocodile yet. You just see something.
No, you just know it's some. Well, you assume it's a crocodile because that's what you saw chomp down.
Right, right. But you haven't seen its full form.
All you've seen is water move, which, by the way, is the most terrifying scenes in the whole goddamn film. When something that big can move the water that way because part of it may be breaching it. This is why I don't trust water.
Why we don't trust water. I'm right there with you. Yeah. You and I are both on the edge of the water. Like, no, I'm not going in there. There's no point. Why tempt fate?
No, if it's above, if I can't see the bottom and know what's in there, like I don't belong in there.
If I can't see the man-made bottom, I'm not going in there. Like if I can see the bottom of a clear, I'm not going in that shit either. Because then I would just see whatever's coming towards me and not move my fat ass fast enough to get back out of the water before it got me. So I don't want to see that either.
Yeah, and knowing my luck, I'd be like swimming and going, oh shit, I got low blood sugar now.
Right.
Fuck. Like I'm not going to make it out of the water anyway.
Where's my spoon and my peanut butter?
Right? Bam.
I'm watching, none of you guys can see this, of course, but I'm watching Corey literally eat peanut butter out of a jar with a spoon to keep his blood sugar where it needs to be.
Yeah, man, got to keep this podcast alive somehow.
Right. Yeah, you guys don't want this podcast to just be me. It would not be nearly as exciting. So, where are we? So we see the crocodile move. We see the wolf start running in the direction of the signal, and then we're back on the plane, and like George twitches, like he's asleep, but he's twitching, and then George is not twitching. George is awake, and George is not in a good mood. He is been taken over by the signal. Taken over by the signal. He literally, like, I like how his eyes, like when he's in that like hypnosis, like his eyes like went red, like a lot, like it got darker around his eyes. Like you could tell he was like not good old joking George, you know?
Yeah, he looked like a whole new animal.
Pretty much. And so he rips out of his cage. He lays waste to the plane as it's in midair. I mean, they're flying, and then they're not flying anymore. And
yeah, because he takes out that whole team.
Kills everybody except for Russell and Davis and Katie. Davis saves Russell's like knocked unconscious, hanging on by like his arms like hooked in some sort of webbing that's holding on some of the cargo there. Davis grabs a couple parachutes. It's the scene you see in the trailer where she's like, "Are we gonna die?" He's like, "Yeah, probably."
Yeah. Yeah, and basically George kills everyone not relevant to the plot.
That's pretty much how the whole movie goes. It's like, you're not in the movie. It's only these folks, and only really just The Rock.
Yeah, I would love to see the scripting on this. It was like 5 people, 4 people we thought about, then we said nah, and then 1,000 extras.
Right. 1,000 CG extras for most of it.
Yeah.
This is one of the other good laughs. So The Rock grabs Russell, gets him loose just in time before George tries to kill them all because Rock had pinned him. Davis had pinned him to the back of the plane with a fucking forklift.
Yeah, so he can knock George out briefly.
Right, and so he clears Russell. He gets a parachute on Russell, and Russell's still unconscious, but he wakes up in midair, and that was probably the funniest shit I saw the entire movie because,
dude, that shit was fucking priceless, man.
Yeah,
the way he wakes up in midair, like I don't even want to talk about it because it's so good. Like, you just have to see it.
Okay, we won't. Go see the movie. We're already telling you to see it.
Basically, he wakes up in midair and is like, what the fuck? And that's all we're giving you.
Right. It's, picture yourself waking up in midair. How do you think you would look?
Right? Yeah. It was priceless.
Right. So they all survive. The plane goes down. They are rummaging through the crash site. George's body is not there. So George did not die. So good on George. And during this time, the FBI has warrants for before we go back to Energine, there's a little bit of like The Rock and Katie get to talking, and she's like, "I'm really a good person, like I'm really, really good person," and Rock's like, "Okay, you're a pretty good person. We'll pound fists and we're friends again." Yeah.
Okay, I trust you. Like, didn't take much to sway him.
So, the FBI has warrants to go to Energine and take all their data because they've realized this is where it came from. The information they provided to Russell has made it back to the government, and they've enacted warrants to search all their, turn over all your hard drives, all your research data, blah, blah, blah.
But of course, there's like one server they didn't get
right,
to.
they hid in the thermostat database. Like I don't even like that's later on in the movie, but like where they supposedly hid it was just really. I was like, really? She was like,
yeah, that scene was a little.
It was a little off.
I don't know about that.
So all the FBI is raiding all of Energene. We were back to Davis and Katie going somewhere, either traveling of some sort. But then we get George's backstory to give us a little bit of information that Davis used to be Special Forces, which comes into play a little bit later. Because he's not just a big bastard for no reason. Like he was Special Forces, before he was a zoologist, whatever title it was that he said it was. He found him. He was on some sort of like anti-poaching squad, and so and even to the point where he's like, I found George. They had just finished hacking up his mother in front of him, and he was hiding. And we came across the poachers. They shot. They missed. And she's like, well, what happened to the poachers? He was like, I shot and I didn't miss.
Yeah.
So, he's you can tell why he went in this line of work after he got done in the military. He was doing he likes animals. So, yeah. And he's seen
he even makes a point of saying something like, they get me better than people. There's something like that. Like there's a point in the movie where he's like, I don't like people, I like animals.
Yeah.
And they like me.
Yeah, they don't go into like all of their reasons for building that part of his character out just kind of fell flat for me. It's like, all right, I see what you're trying to do, and I'm going to take it. I'm gonna take it in, but you're not doing a real great job of explaining that to me. It's just kind of
and there's a whole lot of like, I don't need this, man.
Yeah, I don't need you to hate people. Just be a standard military guy who likes animals and decided to become a zoologist. I don't. It's not even the right word. I have nothing else. I have nothing else but zoologist.
I love how it's what we made it though. It's zoologist, man. He's a zoologist.
Right. So they arrive at Scott Air Force Base, all three of them, Russell, Davis, and Katie. It's standard, like, when a government guy shows up to, like, the Air Force, like, control, like, ops control room, and they're like, well, you're just a fucking government guy. Like, who are you? It's a whole bunch of more dick measuring between, like, the guy who's running the ops center and Russell. The Air Force guy blows that. He's like, you guys don't know what you're doing. We'll take care of this. They've got a team tracking the dog at that moment, or tracking the wolf. They, like, hit it with something fairly good sized, still doesn't do anything to him at all.
No, again, they send a team on foot to go check out these 2-story creatures that have just been destroying shit, so we get a whole nother squad just get annihilated.
Just get wrecked. In the meantime, Davis and Katie are being escorted, to holding or wherever by a couple of just random MPs, and we get the scene from the trailer, god damn it, because it was hilarious and they had to put it in the trailer, but it's cool because the rest of the scene was he stops and he's like, look, he's like, if you guys gotta let us go.
He's like, I get what you're doing. I know what you're doing, man, but like, just let us go.
Either let me go or I'm going to knock you out and I'm going to put you to sleep in a sleeper hold that's going to make you urinate on yourself. Like, it's just what's going to happen. They're like, oh yeah, big guy. And then he just does it. And that's when you get the whole, like, it's a big arm, don't fight it.
yeah, that's a big arm, man, don't fight it.
So, and then we find out that Russell's also going to help them out because he's like, well, these guys aren't listening to me, so here's the keys to the chopper. Take the medevac chopper, go find George and help him. At this point, I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, this is the part where the movie lost me. Like, you're flying to Chicago to do what? Other than get in the way of this giant gorilla and everything else that's coming.
Weren't they going to get like to Energene to steal the thing that stops? Well, it's not an antidote really. It just stops the growth rate.
It only stopped. Well, it stopped the growth rate and it stopped it was mostly to stop the aggression. Yeah. But yes, you're right. That's where they were going to do it. Except they didn't plan on them all converging on the tower they were going to anyways. Because when they get to Chicago. Their whole point is to break in. They break in. Claire and Brett see them breaking in, try to stop them. There's a whole back and forth with them. The animals have already made it to the city. They're literally just doing their rampaging, to quote your term.
Yeah, they were fucking shit up, and it was great.
Right, and at this point, I stopped taking notes because everything just went nuts from here on out. So they get the data. Claire stops them. They go to the roof to go to the chopper. The gator arrives. You see some more like gator in the water, and like my dad lives in Chicago, and like it was cool because my stepmom got pissed because they were wrecking her city in the movie. They're like, "You're wrecking my city." But like I when I visited there, I was like, "Oh shit, I recognize a few of these places. Like I know exactly where that crocodile is going right down, like the waterway that he was on." Like,
yeah.
And he just part of
just moving boats out of the
giant
way.
boats, double-decker boats full of people, just dumping them on top. It is crazy. I mean, that thing was just nuts.
Yeah, the way it just like crawled up from like under the bridge and everything and just took the boat out of like it was again Rampage just not giving a fuck about anything.
Nope. And they're all working their way to this skyscraper that has the signal coming from it. At the same time, the humans are working their way to the roof to get to the chopper to get out of there. They don't make it in time. Like, they don't get on the chopper in time before all the animals arrive. And then just, pandemonium ensues. Like, it's just crazy. You can go ahead and tell the part about what happens to the bad guys.
Okay, well, this is where she gets ate.
Right.
Like, this is like the one of the scenes where I was like, just did not fucking see that coming.
Not at all.
At all. So... they're confronted by The Rock and Katie, because I'm just not going to call him Davis.
Right.
Like, he's always just going to be The Rock.
Understood.
And George is coming at the same time to get, like, whatever signal is going on. Or no, he's done. He's just rampaging now, and so he's just turned his sights on them. Mm-hmm. And that's when... I don't even recall how it happens, because all you see is... Ackerman's character getting snatched up by George, tossed in the air, and then George just opening his mouth.
Right. Well, let me jump in.
Katie
had put the antidote in her bag, in the purse or whatever that she had with her.
That's right. And they let her ask you.
Right.
No, that's right.
They murdered her with the gorilla, and also gave him the antidote at the same time.
Totally forgot about that little piece.
Right. Well, part of them finding the extra files was also finding the antidotes, and that's when they're caught by the rich people and taken to the rooftop. So yeah, and so they give it to her. And yes, I was not like, oh, you're going to use your poor gorilla who's just he's only this way because of something that all the humans did. You're going to use him to just straight out eat somebody.
Yeah, you're just gonna let him do it so we can get the cure. But I guess they've already looked over all the people George has already killed.
He has killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, because they definitely at the end of this movie are like, make it like, hey, we're just gonna find him a new home because he's back to normal.
Right, exactly.
Not that he fucking slaughtered hundreds of people.
It's not his fault, man. He had the rage going. going. Yeah. So at this point, Russell arrives to Chicago as well, and arrives to the building just as the brother has run down 85 flights of stairs.
I love how he calls him out on that. He's like, Did you just run down 85 flights of stairs?
He's like, you saved me the trouble. I was coming to get you. He's like, you know what? Is there a laptop in that bag? I'll take that laptop. Yeah, and you give me that rat you're carrying, and you could just go on about your business. And the guy's like...
Yeah, and you notice how he's already looked at the debris falling out the front door, so he's already banking that this guy gets fucking crushed
right.
when he goes out.
And then we get our one blood splatter of the entire movie.
Oh, yeah, because that was a massive piece of concrete that fell on him. Like, it took up the whole,
3 doors.
Yeah, right? Like, it was 3 sets of double doors. Like, it was huge.
It was every bit of that, and it falls right on the brother as he leaves because Russell lets him go. Yeah, it was great. It was a great little scene. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an amazing actor anyways. I haven't seen him do a lot of comedy recently because he is a very dark character in Walking Dead. So it was kind of nice to see this side of him because he definitely kind of hammed it up for some of the parts, and it was great.
Yeah, no, he definitely played up the part, and it was perfect for that movie and that scene. Right,
exactly. So to finish everything out, George has the antidote, so George is back to normal. He can be spoken to and controlled enough by Davis. Davis sends Katie away, Russell is gone. It's just like The Rock and George versus two giant monsters, and it's like,
and and the Rock with the grenade launcher, and he's basically like, "You ready to do this, man?"
Which, I mean, and even during and then it's just a whole bunch of blowing. Most of it is The Rock like diving out of the way, but there are like a couple times where he's like, "No, George, fall back. I'll hold him off." Like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah, like, hey man, I'm gonna fire off this grenade launcher, and it'll stun him enough for you to like gather yourself.
Yeah,
George.
regroup, buddy. I'm doing, and then he doesn't get killed, and he gets chased by this thing, and it's one of those narrow misses and everything. And not to mention,
you got some good action between all the monsters fighting each other because they don't care now. Now they're all just like
at each other.
Actually,
they're not.
Throats.
They're still not working against each other until The Rock makes the gator think the wolf is pissing him off or something. Because that's how the wolf gets killed. Is that The Rock like taunts him towards the other animal, the other monster.
Oh yeah. That's
and then
right.
the wolf does this really sweet like he bounds off a building and then dives through the building and opens up the wings, and then proceeds to get his head ripped off by the lizard, by the crocodile.
Yeah, dude, it snapped down on him. And that was the other, like one of the other scenes where you're like, holy shit, because it decapitates the wolf.
Head right off.
Yeah. And then like kind of throws it off to the side.
Yep, and then it's just Gator versus The Rock and George.
Yep, and then I'm trying to think in that showdown.
Like The Rock is being pursued. The very end of the showdown, The Rock is being pursued by the gator into a building. It can't quite get his head in there. George has been impaled at least once on something. He's pulled that rebar out of him, and then he stabs it into the head of the crocodile, killing it.
Yeah.
So, but George has been fucked immensely during the fight, and he kind of lays up against the wall and has a little conversation with Davis. And then looks like he dies.
Yeah, you think George dies. You're like, well, there's going to be no sequel.
Right, no sequel. One-time shot. It's a really nice, touching moment. And Katie arrives back. She's there to comfort Davis. And then and then George's hand twitches. And then you realize he was just playing a joke on Davis. And it was hilarious.
Yeah, you start laughing. You're like, oh, that fucking
jackass. Monkey. And this is the point where like George asked Davis if Katie's part of their troop now, and he said yes, we're friends, we're family. And then the monkey makes the motion of the finger going into your hand, the fucking motion.
Yeah, he's basically like, so
you're gonna bang her now? You're gonna bang her now? And he's like, that's not. He's like, oh man, have some class. And he's like, that was funny. Like that was funny.
Yeah, she's all, I heard that.
So, and that's the movie. You actually see, like, at the very end as they're doing the pull-away shot before the credits, like, George is, like, helping. He, like, holds his hand up and, like, gets a guy out of, like, the third floor of, like, a parking structure and, like, helps him.
Yeah, everyone's just like, oh,
I'm just going to jump in his monkey's hand.
Yeah, I'm good now. Apparently he's a good guy now.
Right, I've only killed 18 people and eaten one person. I'll be pooping this lady later on.
Yeah, seriously. Like, you imagine the guy that's in that pen that
day? Yeah, boy. And, yeah, that was... That's Rampage. That's the movie in a nutshell. It's a great action-y smash, everything getting destroyed. It doesn't ever get, the CG never gets, like, was never lost in it. Like, I wasn't, those times where you're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it was done well enough that everything, I knew what it was.
Yeah, no, it was great. I like the movie for what it is an action movie. It was a great action movie, good action comedy. Mm-hmm. It was great.
The Rock never disappoints.
No, man, everything that guy does is gold, pretty much.
And we're going to go see Skyscraper later on this summer, which is the one we talked about earlier. We're going to see that one and review it for you guys for the next few weeks. So we're going to go back to our bread and butter, Corey. We're going back to TV shows next week, at least next week for 1 week. So here's the problem. When we started this podcast 41 weeks ago, we were doing Game of Thrones, Season 7, then we did some American Horror Story and some Star Trek. We didn't really hit that many movies until there was kind of a break in, like, major TV shows to review. Now, Westworld Season 2 is starting. We definitely are going to review that for you. But in between all of Season 2 of Westworld is Avengers Infinity Wars, Deadpool 2, Solo, a Star Wars movie, And even the finale episode is the same week as Jurassic World coming out. So what we're going to do for you guys here in the future, here over the next 10 or so weeks, is we will review the Westworld episode if there's no major movie coming out that we want to see of those ones I listed. And the weeks that those movies will come out, we'll do that movie review, and then the next week we'll have like a combined episode. So we'll do a couple episodes of Westworld in one shot. They'll be a little bit longer, but you guys already hang on for an hour to 2 hours anyway, so we'll just combine them all together.
Yeah, what's a little bit more time with us at that
exactly.
point?
It'll be there won't be an issue in seeing it and how we're doing it. It'll be able to catch you up. It'll let you binge a couple at a time, all that good stuff. So we're excited about doing Westworld Season 2. I enjoyed the first season. I'm actually rewatching it right now. Corey's still got to blow through a few more episodes to get through Season 1, and then we're ready to rock and roll with Season 2. And we really enjoy our TV reviews because we get a chance to like slow down a little bit, break some stuff down, and I can watch it more than once and like really pay attention. Movies, I can't go more than once too many times. I don't have time in the day.
Yeah, no, they're just finding the time for a 2-hour extravaganza is damn near impossible sometimes.
Right. So that is our next 10 weeks set out in front of you guys. If you're Westworld fans, get watching Season 1. Watch it one more time. It's really good if you haven't watched it a second time to go through the second time because you notice a lot of stuff at the beginning that you didn't on the initial watch when all the stuff was revealed later on. So yeah, we look forward to that. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Two Dads Review podcast. Thank you as always.
Yeah, no, it was always a pleasure doing this with you, man. I appreciate you. I like you, and I appreciate everybody that comes out and listens, man. I got to make sure you got the love too.
I like you too, man. Just have to do this with you once a week. All right, so we will catch you guys next week for the Season 2, Episode 1 review of Westworld. Until then, we'll catch you guys later.